Okay, welcome back, guys. Week 10. This is the week of review. Today, we're going to see the review for day 1. And the date is March 7th, 2022. Okay, so we have several topics coming in the exam. The 3 forms of equations, systems of equations, and parallel and perpendicular lines. So we're going to begin with the 3 forms of equations. So we have 3 forms of equations. The first one that we learned is slope-intercept form. Which one is the slope-intercept form? It is that one written as y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept, that we are going to write as an order pair as 0, b, whichever sign it has, okay? And we're gonna graph it that way. We're gonna graph it with the rise and the run, okay? Where the rise is in the y-axis and the run is in the x-axis. So that means that if the rise is positive, it goes up. If the rise is negative, it goes down. And the run, if it's positive, it goes to the right. And if it's negative, it goes to the left. Okay, that's how we're gonna graph it. And always our slope has to be a fraction. So if it's an integer, you place an invisible 1 as a denominator to make it a fraction. This is the first method. Second method is called the standard form. What is the difference between the standard form and the slope-intercept? Well, slope-intercept has the variable y completely unknown in one side, and on the other side, it is the x with an addition or subtraction of a constant, okay? That's the difference. And standard form, you got both variables on the same side. And on the other side, you got the constant, okay? So first, slope-intercept form, y completely unknown in one side. Standard form, both variables on the same side. A, B, and C are real numbers, okay? Meaning any number at all, positive, negative, fraction, decimal, doesn't matter, okay? So it is any real number. However, A and B are different, cannot both, okay? Cannot both be 0. Both of them can be 0. One of them could be 0, but not both of them, okay? A and B cannot be 0, both 0, okay? That's the standard form. And the other one, the last one, is the point slope form. Point slope form has a particularity that is with a given point. So we got y minus y1, I'm gonna place the 1 afterwards, times m equals to m times x minus x1, okay? Okay, now what is x1, y1? x1, y1 is a given point. Okay, any given point. And the m is the slope, just as we already know. Okay, so what is the difference in this case? Well, the difference is that the y has a number that's adding or subtracting as well as the x, and it is inside a parenthesis, okay? That's the biggest difference, okay? So those are the 3 forms of equations that you need to know. Those are the 3 forms of equations that you need to know. No, you cannot have an index card. No, you cannot use your notebook to remind yourself in the exam. No, you cannot have extra exercises in there. These is the forms of equations that you need to learn by heart. Just the same way that you learned your name, that's the same way that you need to learn these 3 types of equations, okay? Now, this one, the point-slope form, can be transformed into the standard form and the slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form can be transformed into standard form, and standard form can be transformed into slope-intercept form. They both cannot be transformed into point slope. It's really hard. I mean, it is possible, but it's really hard and it has a lot of procedures, which we are not going to see. So we're going to transform from point slope to standard and slope intercept, or from slope intercept to standard, or from standard to slope intercept. Okay, we're not transforming into point slope. We are finding point slope and transforming from there, okay? So we're gonna graph one type of exercise of each so you can know how it is graphed. The second method is the method of the intercepts, okay? Where I find the intercept in X when I leave an empty space and Y is equal to 0. And I find the intercept in Y when X is equal to 0 and I leave an empty space to find the value of Y. This is the easiest method to use, and that's the method that's mostly used in every graphing exercise in math. It doesn't matter what type of math. I mean, in Algebra 1, pre-algebra, Algebra 2, pre-calculus, calculus. Yeah, that's what I meant. So let's begin with one exercise of each. Writing an equation and then graphing, or finding a graph and from the graph, finding the equation, okay? So let's say the first exercise I have, M is equal to -2 and B is equal to 7. You're going to find the, no, not 7. Let's make it smaller. 3. You're going to find the equation and then we're going to graph. So if I give you a value of M, a slope, and I give you an intercept, what form of equation can you use?
Slope-intercept.
Slope-intercept.
Slope-intercept form. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, Y equals MX plus B. Okay, what's my equation? Y equals
Y equals to -2x plus 3.
Very good. -2x plus 3. Now, in order for us to graph, we're passing this into an order pair. What's the order pair? What's the order pair?
0,3.
0,3. Very good. Okay, so let's graph it. Okay, let's graph this. So I don't need too big of an order pair, I think. Place it over here. What else did I tell you that I need to have, that I don't have it over here, that I need to write? What else did I tell you that I need to have?
The slope.
The slope. So the slope is going to be -2 because it's given over 1, right? Because I need to have it as a fraction. Okay, let's find the rise and the run. -2, that's the rise. To which side does it go?
Down.
Down. And +1?
Right.
To the right, very good. So we're going to start graphing the intercept 0,3, 1, 2, 3. And from that point, I'm going down 2 units and 1 unit to the right. So I go 1, 2, then 1 unit to the right over there. Right there is where I'm placing my second point. And what do I do now? I just go ahead and connect those 2 points with a straight line, passing through the center of each point. using a ruler. It's really important for you to use a ruler, okay? And to draw the arrowhead in the equation, in the graph, sorry. And that is point slope form. Questions? Slope intercept form, sorry. No, easy peasy breezy lemon squeezy, right? Okay, let's go with point slope form. Okay, so for point slope form, I'm asking also to give me the equation, okay? Give me the equation and transform it to slope intercept form and to point slope and then graph it. Okay, that's what I'm asking. And graph it in point slope form. Okay, so I'm going to write here. -1,3 and -3, comma, -2. Okay. And I'm asking, I'm giving that. I'm just giving you that. -1,3 or -2, -3, -2. And I'm asking you to write the equation in point slope form, to transform it to slope intercept form and standard form, and then graph in slope intercept form, in point slope form, sorry. So I give you 2 points, but for the point slope form, I need only 1 point and 1 slope. I'm not giving you any slope. What should you do?
Find the slope.
The slope, very good. And how do we find the slope? With the formula, right? What's the formula? What's the formula of slope?
Y2 minus Y1.
Very good. The formula to find the slope when we have 2 given points is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, now I just identify each point as x1, y1, and the other point as x2, y2. So just to keep an order, just because I want it, I'm going to call this x1, y1, the first one, and the second one, x2, y2. And I'm going to substitute those values inside my equation. So this is in my formula, -2 minus y1 is 3 over x2 is -3 minus x1 is -1. -2 minus 3. -2 minus 3.
-5.
-5. Positive and, I mean, negative times negative. Positive. -3 plus 1.
-2.
-2. Can I simplify that?
Yes, into positive.
I'm just pass it to positive because negative times negative, positive. Very good. So 5 over 2. Okay, so now I just need to write my point slope form equation. My point slope form equation is y minus y1 equals to m x minus x1. Since I already identified 1 point as x1, y1, that's the point that I'm using. You can use the other point if you want, okay? Both answers are gonna be correct. So I'm gonna say y, remember we changed the sign, so 3 is positive. So -3 is equal to m, which is 5 over 2 times x, and x1 is negative, so I'm gonna place plus 1 because I changed the signs. This is the point slope form equation. Now let's make the slope intercept form, okay? Now I'm gonna do that in blue. I'm gonna copy again for the slope intercept form, slope intercept. So I'm gonna copy y minus 3 equals to 5 over 2 x plus 1. For this one, I need to do distributive property. And then I need to pass the 3 to the other side. So let's do the distributive property first, okay? So y minus 3 is equal 5/2 times x, 5/2 x. And 5 times 1, because that's the little hint that I gave you, when you have a fraction multiplying a whole number or an integer, you multiply the integers times the numerator and you copy the denominator, okay? So plus 5 times 1 is 5 over 2. Now I need to leave the y alone because the slope-intercept form requires you to have the y completely alone. So that means that this -3 passes to the other side, add in. So now I got that y is equal to 5 over 2 x plus 5 over 2 plus 3. For this part over here, I need to do the happy face method for this part over here. So it means that I'm going to add that invisible one. And I'm going to do the happy face method. Okay, and I'm placing that over here. So I have y is equal to 5/2 of x plus 5 times 1, that's 5. 2 times 3, that's 6. Over 2 times 1, that's 2. 5 plus 6?
11.
11. So I got y is equal to 5/2 of x plus 11/2. And this is the slope-intercept form. Okay, so I found already 2. Point slope form and slope-intercept form. Now I'm going to do over here the standard form. Okay, now for the standard form, I'm copying this. So y is equal to 5/2 of x plus 11/2. And the standard form requires for you to have both variables on the same side. So you can either choose to pass the x to the left, or you pass the 11/2 to the left and the y to the right. It doesn't matter. At the end, you're still going to have the same answer, okay? So you're going to have, I'm going to pass this one to this side because it's easier. And it goes negative. Okay? So I'm going to have -5 over 2 x. Y is positive, so plus y equals to 11/2. And that's it. This is the slope, the standard form. This is the standard form. Any questions? Okay, any questions? So far? So far, so good? Okay, let's graph. Remember, we were requested to graph, okay? So we are going to graph. So for that, I do need to move up. And I'm being requested to graph using the point slope form, okay? So that's how I'm going to graph, using the point slope form. Now remember, this is the point slope form. So for the graph, m is equal to 5/2. And the given point x1, y1 is -1, 3, because that's the point that I decided to use, right? -1, 3. So those are the ones that I'm going to use to graph. Okay, so drawing my coordinate plane. I'm gonna need it to be so big. Let's see if this is long enough, big enough. Always I graph first the given point. So negative 1, 3, negative 1 on the x, 1, 2, 3 on the y. Yep, I needed that to be longer. So let's make it longer, okay? Okay, let's see if that's enough, long enough. Now I need to go and find my rise and run. 5 over 2, the rise is 5, so it goes up, and the run is 2, so it goes to the right. So I go 5 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I go 2 to the right. 1, 2. Right there is my second point. And you see, when we graph with this point slope form, I have 2 points in the space. What does it mean to have points on the space? That they are not touching, the points are not touching the coordinates, okay? And that's it. That's my second graph in point slope form. I'm pretty sure you're going to have an exercise like this, where you need to find the slope, write the point slope form, write the slope intercept form, write the standard form, and then graph, okay? And that is how we graph with the slope intercept form and the point slope form. We're still missing the intercept methods, okay? But we're gonna see the intercept method when we get to systems, okay? So for the standard form, we are not graphing right now, we're graphing and using the method of the intercepts when we get to the systems in our next class. Is there any question at all? No? Okay, let's do one more exercise. Okay, I'll give you the graph and you are going to give me the equation, okay? So I'm making this up. That's it. You need to find the equation of that graph. I give you 3 points. So what are you going to do? First of all, you need to identify what order pair is in each point. Pick 2, whichever 2 points that you want. I want to pick this one. So this is -1 on the x, comma, 1, 2, 3. 3 on the y. And I want to pick this one. This is 2 on the x, 0 on the y, 2, 0. And I'm just going to give you this point so you know which point that is. That point is 0, 2. Okay? 0 on the x, 2 on the y. You can choose whichever 2 points you want. I want to use this point and this point. Okay? These 2 points. I can use those 2 points. So I'm going to find the slope. Okay? I can go from this point to this one, or from this one up. It doesn't matter. You choose the way that you want to go. You go down or you go up. It doesn't matter. So since I'm using the first one and the last one, I'm going down just because I want to, okay? So I'm going to count my spaces down. 1, 2, 3. 3 because my point is in there, okay? 3 down. Now, how many do I go all the way to my point? I go 1, 2, 3. 3 to the right. Okay, so I write my slope. My slope is, okay, my rise is 3 and it goes down, so it has to be negative, over my rise is 3 and it goes to the right, so it has to be positive. I simplify that, -3 over 3, that is?
31.
-1, very good. Now I have my slope. Since I have 2 given points, I pick whichever point I want to write my equation, okay? Which point do you want us to use? This one or this one? Which one do you want us to use? -1, okay. -1, 3. So this is x1, this is y1. This is one way of doing the exercise, okay? So we're gonna have y minus 3 is equal to -1, but since it's -1, I'm not using the number, so just the parentheses, x plus 1. And this is your equation. This is one equation that you could have. The other equation is if we use this point, okay? This one and this one, let's say. So you go and see 1, 2 down, and 1, 2 to the right. So the slope in this case is gonna be -2 over 2. It's still -1. And I'm gonna use this point, 0, 2. And as you remember, I write the intercept, the 0, b. So that means that b in here is 2. Okay, doing it this way. So I'm gonna have that y is equal to -x because y equals mx plus b. So -x plus 2. Now you want to see that we actually get that answer from here? Okay, so just for common knowledge, this is not something that you need to do. This is just common knowledge. We have y minus 3 is equal to -x minus 1 because I do the distributive property of the negative. So I change everything inside the parentheses. This is subtracting, it goes adding. So y is equal to -x minus 1 plus 3. Y is equal to -x plus 2. You see, same thing. So they're different answers. So depending on which point you use, that's the point that I'm going to check. Okay, depending on the method that you use or the points that you use, that's the answer that I'm going to check. So don't worry if Natalie has an answer and Larissa has another and Diego has another. At the end, the answer is still going to be correct, okay? I'm not erasing that right now, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And for today, basically, that's it.